And I believe limitless opportunities are created by making people more capable. And in times to come, if you want your employees, or if you really want their well-being, or your near and dear ones, your friends, help them get more technologically advanced and help them be emotionally more strong. Because these are the two key skills which are going to be required in.
We have the pleasure of welcoming Rahul Sethi to our interview series today. I'm Sneha Murthy from the People Hum team. Before we begin, just a quick introduction of People Hum. People Hum is an end-to-end one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the People Hum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest. Rahul Sethi is a corporate trainer, leadership coach, and founder of ProTouch, an organization that facilitates executive and leadership development. He helps organizations build leadership pipelines through process and skill enhancement training and coaching interventions. He has over 20 years of corporate experience in heading business and organizational change projects. He is a certified Marshall Goldsmith and ICF coach. We are extremely happy and honored to have him on our interview series today. Welcome, Rahul. We are thrilled to have you.
My pleasure, Sneha, and thanks for having me over.
Sure. So, the first question I had for you was can you tell a little bit about your journey and about the people who have shaped your thinking?
Sure. I think there are many, and it will be quite not fair for me to name a few. But I would definitely would like to share some of the patterns uh, that I've seen in all the successful people, and which has really inspired me, motivated me over the years. Some of the things they have in common. They have been all very humble. Uh, all great leaders that I have been motivated with, they have been very humble. They have been absolutely transparent. Not transparent only in their official dealings, but they have been transparent about their emotions, about their feelings, the way they look at business, they will look at life, and they have been, you know, amazing in their resilience. It is not that they have not faced failures; they had, and over the period they have learned this art of being resilient, and that's what I have imbibed from a lot of them. Some of the qualities which I see, and which I also imbibe in a lot of my practices and at my work, they are very clear in their mind.
Yeah.
They're absolutely clear in the path they are heading, which helps them craft a great vision. They keep very few priorities, but follow them very strictly. They don't have 10 things to do or 20 things to do. They generally have a couple of things to do, and they do it really well. Uh, their decision making cycles are very simple. They have a very simple structure of making great decisions. And that's a great strength of all of them. And you know they are very clear about their own role in the team. you know uh, I sometimes really get impressed by the clarity they have, what role they are playing, what role their team members are playing, and as a result they make a great team. And that's what I have picked up and thought it would be great to share with you. Thanks
Yeah.
for asking that question.
Thank you. Yeah, that is inspiring. We need to know where we are heading, and clarity and a vision should always be there, right? Yeah. So moving on to the next question, where do you think are the organizations are falling short while trying to create a differentiated employee experience?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And this question really puts a lot of question mark in the way we operate in the corporate world today. Let me attempt at answering a little differently.
Yeah.
I think employee experience to me comes from the mindset of delivering a great experience. And it's not only about employees. It is about a mindset of an organization that they have to deliver a great experience. A great experience, if you look at the trends over the past 10 to 15 years, a lot of work has happened in the area of, uh, with a combination of data, computing, analytics, and networks. You know, all this organization has used very well to either maximize their profits or minimize their costs. And the simple approach has been on customer experience. They have used power of big data, top it up with analytics, make use of networks and high computing speeds to deliver an amazing customer experience. Let it be searching a product, recommendations, or superior delivery. A lot have happened around the world in the area of employee in the area of customer experience. But unfortunately, we as organizations have never been able to adapt the same technology, data, and computing when it comes to experience to other stakeholders. You know, they could be vendors, could be your partners, or your employees. You know, and as we move into talent economy, I think delivering a great employee experience. If I have to very simply put, you have to give customer grade experience to your employees. The way organizations focus on giving experience to their customers, I think they have to focus in a similar manner to give a great experience to their employees by use of analytics, data, computing, bring it together with a lot of empathy to create that magic. When you look at customers, we look at n equal to 1. Every customer is unique, is exclusive, expects exclusive treatment. Similar manner, let it be right from hiring, onboarding, performance management systems, or their experience as they move in the career progression within the organization. All this put together creates an experience. And if organizations have to, in my view, have to maximize, and talent is going to be differentiated. And as we move into the gig economy, talent is going to be a scarce resource, and talent is going to be a differentiator. And if that has to happen, the same customer grade experience has to be brought into to experience of employees. I think that's what my take on this is. Yeah, and people who will be able to do it faster than others will always be ahead of the race.
Yeah, it should not be just data in and data out. It should just craft a story of the employees, and it should be people centric first, and to ultimately get the goal of customer centric.
Absolutely, because these are the people who are going to impact your clients.
True.
Yeah, and we are putting disproportionate effort where you are using a combination of technology and empathy when it comes to handling clients or handling customers. But the person who's handling them also need to be, the first beneficiary of this technology and data.
Yeah. So as you said, the talent is going to be the future. So what do you think? What should be the habits that a successful manager should practice when it comes to hiring the right talent?
Uh, well, uh, I think a lot is changing in this area. A lot is changing in this area. I have seen some great practices with my, consulting assignments and our leadership interventions that we do with various organizations. In my experience, a lot is changing in this space. Some of the great practices that I've seen people adopting, who have seen more success in terms of their hiring capabilities than others, is extending the experience story itself. I think few things that differentiate them. They are hiring for their strengths. They are not looking at the fitment right from the word go. They are on the lookout for great talent. And in the right from the interviewing process, some organizations have developed such a wow experience for their employees. Say, for example, I was working with this organization where before you're called in for an interview, everything is provided to you, right from LinkedIn profile of the interviewer, values of the organization, the culture, some references, as much information as possible. HR team used to make an extra effort to provide it to a prospective employee, because what some organizations have differentiated very well, it is a decision making process at both the ends. It is not only the employer who is selecting, yeah? It is the employee also who is selecting, and it's organization's job to, and facilitate the decision making process even for the employee, yeah, or a prospective employee. Having said that, I've seen some amazing practices used by organization to use a lot of data mining to get insights into behavioral aspects of their prospective employees. A lot of social media listening, a lot of big data analytics, a lot of assessments. There are a lot of advanced tools they use while making the right choice of right hiring decisions. And then there is how do they nurture the speed, the experience, also a lot of predictive analytics. I've seen some organizations using to say, especially in the area of renage, it's a big issue. The drop off rate, and some organizations are able to exactly predict what it's going to be and what can be done right at the beginning to minimize that. So I think a lot is happening, a lot can be done.
Yeah, that's a nice like it was really insightful. So moving on to the next question, what would be your advice for the leaders who are dealing with the remote team, especially the young leaders that are coming up during this pandemic and everything?
My personal view is, see, we are living in a VUCA world, and this pandemic is only strengthening, those philosophies and those concepts. I think a large part of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity is beyond the control of leaders today. I think what my advice to leaders would be to shift their focus uh, on something which is more controllable. Uh, Say, for example, if I have to just, uh, you know, turn this VUCA in a different manner to say V is for vision, and that is in your control. How do you create a picture of future in front of your employees? How do you carve out a meaning from that future, and then inspire uh, and rally everyone around that mission? That's controllable, and a volatility can be replaced by vision. Similarly, uncertainty can be replaced by understanding. We all know uh, crisis will happen, and crisis will only going to increase as we go along. Now, how do we create smaller result areas and then kind of work backwards and work towards those results? Similarly, complexity can be replaced by clarity. As I told you earlier, if a leader can prioritize rightly, because a lot of young leaders I've seen getting lost into multiple priorities, and eventually the team cannot figure out in which direction they are heading. If they are able to very clearly, and it's controllable, if they're very clear to define one or two priorities or three priorities to go after, that can help. Similarly, ambiguity can be replaced by adaptability. Uh, it is not about survival of the fittest, it is about survival of the fastest. Yeah? The person who is able to adapt and not fall in love with is its own experience, belief systems, and past observations, and willing to change everything very fast, will be person who will be more adaptive and can build a culture of adaptability. I think will be uh, do better. And my sense is, rather than focusing on uncontrollable VUCA, let's focus on controllable VUCA. And I think end of it all, we all will be better off.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense of building a culture that is adaptable. That's how you can make people feel comfortable around their own organization and adapt to the situations, right? And how do you believe organizations are going to convince their workers to return back to office given the like uncertainty of the pandemic?
Yeah, see, um, my sense is 3 months is a bit long time. and some of your workforce is actually going to come back after 5 6 months and maybe more. Yeah. And a lot of realization has creeped in both at the employer end and at the employer, and a lot of behaviors and habits are changing. And organizations will have to do a major reset in their own working style and their belief systems. You know, um, I can suggest four things, and I think these are. I've also written an article on this, and I believe this is going to be key pillars for business success as we come out of this crisis. The first one is will be the flexibility.
Yeah.
The definition of office has changed. You know, your cubicles have extended to your kitchen table, to your couches, and even to your bathrooms. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it is an organization has to take advantage of this flexibility, which employees have exhibited. Um, in many areas, efficiencies have gone up. In many areas, perceivably leaders feel that efficiencies have gone down. But this will always be going to be a debate. But the way I see it, it is a good net practice for all the leaders as we enter into the gig economy. Gig economy is here, and the future workforce is going to be like this. You may never see your employee in times to come. Yeah, how do you work? I suggest we organizations should move from work from home concept to work from anywhere concept.
Yeah.
You can work from office, you can work from home, because work from home you're still restricting it to working from home. Some may be comfortable working from office, from home, from some a bench in the park. You know, and I'm aware of one organization who's doing it very well. They have this concept for last 3 years, which is work from anywhere, and very successful because it takes. Um, to my second point, that organization will have to come with new employee matrices. The old matrices will not hold true anymore. Uh, if it is going to be vertical based, then you have to co-create. And I don't have a strong recommendation to make what these matrices should look like. Yeah, the only recommendation I have here is you have to co-create with your employees. It will always come out better if they are part of creating those matrices. Third, the area that organizations will have to look at is social impact.
Yeah.
Uh, this pandemic has not been a painless exercise. People have lost jobs. Organizations have to let go many people, downsize. Some skills have gone forever. New skills are emerging, and even people who are not impacted in terms of their job cuts and things like that. There are a lot of stories around reduced salaries and things like that. If you are escaped from all of this, your employees have still gone through a lot of trouble of working from home. On the Zoom calls, it's not a very unusual sound of dog barking at the background, which kind of interrupts the meetings. And we all have gone through it. Please understand the employee is also going through that pain every day when he is working. He is also working in the same environment. You know, and organizations will have to come forward, whether the employees are impacted or not, to offer resources. Offer resources in terms of their reskilling, offer resources in terms of their upskilling, because it is getting force multiplied by two factors. One is life expectancy is going up, and the job expectancy is coming down, or the skill expectancy is coming down. Which means your skills will become irrelevant very soon, and you are not going to die so soon. And which means people need reskilling, people need a lot of upskilling, and organizations will have to come forward and offer that resources. I'm not talking sponsor them, but offer those resources. Help them. Those organizations who are able to do that will do better and will attract better workforce to come back. Because that talks about the culture and things like that. And the last one is about uh, you know authentic leadership will get replaced by relaxed leadership. Uh, what I mean by this is, we all know much more about our employees, because over the past 3 years we have interacted with their parents, their kids, their dogs, their pets, their mates. We have practically lived out, or we have worked out of the living rooms. Yeah. And which can be used to build great relationships. It can be built to, and the great relationships make the working environment more relaxed. If I only know you rather than I know your entire family very well, you know makes things relaxed, and organization should maximize. And you have to leverage all of this information and these relationships, bring the guys back, because now you exactly know what challenges people are facing at their home, and what opportunities you can offer them, given, so that they're able to work in a more relaxed uh, environment. I think that's going to be a game changer when organizations looking to get their employees back.
Yeah, that's really, that makes a lot of sense. It's like the future of work is not in future anymore. It is now, and you have to make it accordingly.
It's here.
Yeah, it's there. So, to sum this up, lastly, Rahul, do you have any sound bites that you would like to leave out for our audience?
Mm, well, I would like to, have a request. One of the purpose of our organization is to create, to impact life by creating limitless opportunities. Uh, and I believe limitless opportunities are created by making people more capable.
Hmm.
And in times to come, if you want your employees, or if you really want their well-being, or your near and dear ones, your friends, help them get more technologically advanced, and help them be emotionally more strong. Because these are the two key skills which are going to be required in future in various forms. I'm not here to recommend a particular specific advice, but I'm saying, uh, if the more we are able to spread this awareness, to ensure, which is a good combination of high tech and high touch, people will do better, because currently either people are very high tech or they are very high touch. Yeah. And what is required as we go along is more of the both, and the more we are able to help people achieve that in any form, will be, we will do a lot of good to the mankind.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's true. So, thank you so much, Rahul. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was an enriching learning experience for me, and I'm sure it is going to be the same for our audience as well.
Thanks, Neha, and it was absolutely wonderful speaking to you. And I wish you good luck. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope we stay in touch, stay safe, and take care.
Thank you.